Hello there, can everyone hear me? Hello, hello. Hi there, everybody. I'm hoping that you can hear me. Can you just type in that you can hear me? So that way I know that I'm good. Hey, Jim. My cord for this is in my computer in there, or my bag. Good. I'm glad you can hear me. That's a beautiful thing. Well, we're going to start today by, first of all, if you had any questions from any of the assignments for Chapter 2 before we start in with Chapter 3. Honey, look at this. Look. That's weird. That is strange. I can hear you. I just want to make sure that you can hear me before I start on here. Does anyone have any questions that you want to go through with Chapter 2 before we start Chapter 3?
I do.
Okay. Let me get my stuff going here.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second here. One second. So which chapter do you want to look at? Or which problem?
I'm on 26.
Problem 26 of Chapter 2. Okay.
I mean, and all is okay, except the only question I had was regarding your template. I don't know if you mentioned this before, but on retained earnings for Marshall Company as a consolidated worksheet, you have 505, and it's one of those that we can't change. But it's supposed to be 420, so it's throwing off my numbers.
The retained earnings started the period with 505.
It says 420 on the book.
On the solution?
In the given problem.
Okay, let me look at that. 1 second here. Chapter 2, problem 26. Acquired 100% of the outstanding stock of Tucker. To acquire these shares, issued. Yeah, yeah, there's an error here in the book. I'm just looking here. Yeah, you can't change that. I'm just seeing. One 2015 420, and yet this shows 550. That template came from the book, so I can't change it.
Okay.
Um.
Well, that's all I had.
Yeah, but everything else works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't do anything about that because it's locked, so I can't correct the I can't correct the the Excel template is a worksheet that's locked, and I can't undo it there, unfortunately.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else before we move on? We're good to go? So what I would like to do is start by going over the, excuse me here, I'm trying to get myself organized. My power cord to my computer, my other computer is, I don't know if it tore off or if someone ate it up, and my guess is I tore it off. I'd like to blame a mouse for doing it, but I'm probably, somehow I did it. So I'm trying to get my iPad clicked up here, so excuse me. So what we're going to do is start with the PowerPoint for Chapter 3, and then from there we will go through some problems. Now, we're going to spend 2 weeks on this chapter, so we'll go through a good chunk of it today, and then we'll continue with it next week. Now, do you all have class with your other classes next week at school, or are you online next week? Anybody?
This is my only class. So
Okay.
up to you guys.
I am going to be there anyway because my other 2 classes are meeting. So what I will do is we'll plan, and I'll let everyone know we'll plan on having classes, and I will record the lecture so those that aren't there will be able to review the lecture. But I'm going to plan on having class next week. Okay, guys? So let me just open up the book here, because I enjoy, if there are some aspects of this book I want to look at, we've got that, so we can pull it up. So this chapter primarily is going to focus with the consolidated financial statements after the year of acquisition. So we've spent the time talking about during the year of acquisition, excuse me, I'm just pulling this up and then I'll share my during the year of acquisition, we've basically talked about how we need to present the information. In chapters 1 and 2, we've spent a lot of time understanding how we have to allocate fair values to the various accounts. And hey, so Delissa and I don't want to smear Agatson is here, so I just hope everyone can hear me. If not, please let me know. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to start understanding how the financial statements, that is the class from this morning. Here we go. How the financial statements become consolidated in the years after the acquisition. So that's what we're going to spend our time talking about today. And this will cover 2 weeks. So we will go through a good portion of this week, go through some problems, and then continue this discussion next week in class. So as we know, in the consolidated financial statements, there are various transactions we need to record based on fair value, based on the consideration that we give for a subsidiary, And we may have some intangible assets that have definite lives, and then we have some, such as goodwill, that may have an indefinite life. So we've spent the first 2 chapters discussing how these 2 companies come together in a set of financial statements, and the various journal entries are the entries that we do to eliminate some of the investment of the parent company and the subsidiary. And then as we continued on throughout chapters 1 and 2, how we record them using the acquisition method. Now, through the passage of time, companies will still continue when there is a company that is continuing to operate on its own. Companies still will keep separate books, and the parent company needs to have a method of internally recording the transactions to show the income and the various expenses. And so that's what we're going to talk about, various methods in which internally the financial statements can be, the subsidiary, the parent company keeps track of the subsidiary on their books. Ultimately, the same effect plays out each year when we consolidate the financial statements. Each year we still need to eliminate the investment account. We still need to show the subsidiaries' assets and liabilities at that original fair value when we acquired the company, so we show a united set of books. There are a couple interesting issues during the passage of time for keeping track of the amortization on certain items and how we continue to present a united front on the consolidated statement. So we're going to talk about the various methods that a parent can utilize to keep track of the investment in the subsidiary internally. Now these are not, there's 3 different ways they can do it, but this is not for external reporting, only for the parent company to keep track of the information of the subsidiary. It gets confusing. It would be a very interesting position to have working for a company that is having to consolidate the books for all the various subsidiaries. So we know that for a parent company with the various subsidiaries that are owned, we have an account that we're familiar with from the previous chapters called an investment. We also have an income account that helps us keep track of the earnings on that investment. And the company, the parent company, can select 3 specific methods that can account for this investment in a subsidiary. We're going to talk about the 3 methods, and primarily we will focus on the equity method in completing some problems next week on this chapter. So when a company acquires a subsidiary, they can keep track internally of the investment by the equity method, which is probably the best representation of the consolidation of the company. There are 2 other methods though. One is called the initial value method. No, it's the easiest method to apply. That is why people use it. It's generally very easy to apply.